Hello, good morning. My name is Odiri, aka ODZ, aka Young DZ, also known as Big DZ. Yeah, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to group data by clubs, or should we say by a certain column. In this example, we are going to be using grouping them by teams, the column teams in this sheet. So we are going to be grouping them into various sheets. So every player that falls under Liverpool, for example, is going to go under a Liverpool sheet that's going to be created automatically. So we have a lot of data sets here. We have about 668 data points. So doing it manually is going to be difficult. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to use a script to programmatically group it into sheets. So we are going to be grouping by the teams they fall under. So stay tuned and watch how it's going to be done. All right, so I initially thought I could use formulas, writing the formulas here to do it, but it won't be possible to separate them by sheets using formulas. So doing it with a script is the best way to do it. And in this video, we are going to be using JavaScript to do this. So what you're going to do, you are going to go to the add-ons, the extensions rather. We have add-ons, we have macros. So we are going to be using app scripts to do this. So let's go to the app script. Background music. Alright, we are in the app script now, and this is where we are going to be writing our code. This is where we are going to be writing the code. So let us start by giving the function, because everything is going to be in the function. So if you don't have knowledge of coding, you might struggle a bit, but you can just copy this script and just tweak it to an extent. And if you don't have knowledge, so you can copy the script. I can put it in a doc for anyone who wants it. So you can just tweak it to your own, to what you want to use it for. So you might just be changing. What you are going to change is just the names of the cell. Well, let's go. So let's call it the name of the function separate player by club. Players by club. All right, so what are we going to do here now? So now we have to get the active spreadsheet, that active spreadsheet. So Excel, Google Sheet rather, gives us some APIs. We call them APIs. So what are APIs? They are called application programming interfaces. So they give you an interface for you to interact with what they have already done. So this interface allows you to interact with your Google spreadsheet, with this spreadsheet, because you are in another environment. You understand? So we have to now get the active spreadsheet. So to get the active spreadsheet, we write a variable for it. Sorry, const. That means constant. Let's call the active spreadsheet SS. Spreadsheet app get active. Sorry, active spreadsheet. Then from the active spreadsheet, we now get the sheet. That sheet one itself. Sheet one. We get sheet one. Const active sheet. Active sheet is equal to ss, the spreadsheet that we are in, dot get active sheet. So these are all functions. So we have gotten our source, get source data. So what is the next step now? The next step for us is to get the data in that spreadsheet. No, now because we know that in this spreadsheet we have a lot of cells, and there are a lot of empty cells. We don't want this cell that is empty. We want only cells that have valid entries, only cells that are valid. You understand? So let us get data, get all data. So const data is equals to active. Let us move this t. Let our spelling be accurate. So active sheet dot get data range. So the data range, that's data range. So the ones that have active cells that have active values in it, so don't get values. Then we get the values from those. Um, you understand what I mean? You understand what I mean? Then from the data, we now want to get the headers. We want the headers. So this data, it arranges everything in an array. You understand? It gives you a 2D array. So a nested array inside arrays. So we have a lot of arrays inside the arrays. Oh, I want you people to see it. Console. I hope this video is not long. Alright, console.log data. Now, here is the data. Data has been outputted. So it's an array. So we now have arrays inside the parent array. So the first data that is coming out in the first array is the header names, position teams. Then it will be followed by the next row, which is Mohamed Salah's row. Then it will be followed by the next one, which is Haaland. You understand? So that's what we are going to be getting, and that array, we are going to use it to manipulate what we want and get our final result. All right, so let's go. The next thing we are going to be doing is that we are going to be getting the index of the name and the index of the team that we want, because the index of this name here, the name is not showing because of the coloring. Let me change the color, the text color, so that we're going to see it. So the index of the name and the index of team is what we are going to use to manipulate, because we want these teams to be in a separate sheet. So we need this index, and we need the name to manipulate. You understand what I mean? So to do that, we do this. We do const name index is equal to headers. Oh, I've not gotten the headers. I was explaining, so let me get the headers, because I've not gotten the headers. Headers is equals to data. So our bracket notation. All right. So headers dot source, headers dot index of. So we want to get the index of name. Then we do for team. team. All right, let's change the name because it's going to be strict. So after we've done that, then we want to now populate these things, this data into a an object. So it will allow us to manipulate it properly. So in an object will be the right data structure for us to use to be able to manipulate it properly. So we will group them properly and be very appealing for us to see with an object. Because with the array that we used the other time, it just gave us a 2D array of arrays, array of arrays. So with objects, we are going to group it properly, and I'm going to like show you here, show you in the console. All right, so let us initialize an empty object. Club data is equals to an empty object. Then we are not going to loop. We are going to loop over the data. We are going to loop over our data. So what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be looping over the second row, because the first row contains the name of the data point. So we want to start the second row is where the main data itself starts. So let us write the for loop for this. Let I is equals to 1, because we are starting from 1. I is less than data dot length I increment I. So we are going to get our row, the row data dot I will give us that row. So let us console or log it and see what is there. Row. Let us see. See, it gave us the row of Mohamed Salah, but it's not going to output everything because it's too long. So it's going to cut at some point. You see, it gave us, you are seeing Julian Timber, this is Haaland, this is Palmer. So it's giving us that row that we want. So it's now looping over everything, and it's going to now populate it inside this our club data object. It's going to make it more presentable there for us to manipulate properly. So the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be getting our club names, or the team names as we use it here. So team is equals to row, then team index. It's going to output all the teams. So we are just cutting the team. We are just getting the teams, because this row gave us the whole data set of that row that we are in. So our next step is checking our club data, this club data, to see if there is no team. Like for example, Manchester United is not in this club data, then we are going to initialize Manchester United. So now, for example, let me show you what this club data is going to be in the final stage. So let's say, for example, club, let us do. So what we are going to be having is Manchester United, or let us see Man United. It's an array. We populate all the teams here. Then we build for Chelsea. You see, this is what we are going to be getting. Let me comment this out. So this is what we are getting now. This is how our final result is going to be. So what we are going to do is to populate the data into the club data, and we are going to use and a conditional to check first of all if Manchester United or Liverpool is not inside the club data. First thing we are going to do, because we want to put them in separate sheets, we are now going to first of all initialize the headers, these headers. So because we have a sheet, we want this header. So if Liverpool is not there, the first thing we are going to do is populate it. So but if it's there, we don't need to populate that header again. We don't need to add the header, initialize it with the header. We now just need to add that player there. So for every loop. So what we are going to do is if club data dot team, this team, so if it's not inside, if that team is not there, if Liverpool is not there, for example, you initialize it, club data or team, notation bracket notation team headers. That's it. So then we do that. Then we will now add that row. Let's say, for example, Liverpool is not there. We first of all add this, then put Salah. But if Liverpool is there already and we already have Salah, then we just put Luis Diaz. That's it. So since, let's say for example, we already have Liverpool, we have the headers, we have Salah, then want to add Diaz, we just write it to push. I'm going to push it into Liverpool's array. Club data, club, that is Liverpool, for example, team, dot push row. What is this? Push row. So that row, we are starting from Salah, the second row. So we are pushing, let's say we are in Luis Diaz's row. So we push all the data that has to do with Luis Diaz. So let us see what club data looks like now. Console.log club data. Let us see what it looks like. See, this is our object, Liverpool. You see what I told you guys? So Liverpool now has an array of the headers. Then we have the player, we have Luis Diaz, we have Salah, Luis Diaz, Alexander-Arnold. So it's now grouped into different sections. So that object now has Liverpool field, it has Chelsea, so it's now making sense. So in our next step, we are going to be populating this data now into different sheets. So now we have arranged them properly in an object. We will now want to put them into a separate sheet. So now we want to use those APIs that Google Sheet has given to us. I keep calling it Excel. Every spirit of Excel, leave me. Okay, let us go. We have to create a for in loop. So we are going to be using a for in this instance because this is an object. So for us to loop over an object, we use for in. And in doing this, we write it this way: let team in club data. So this team is the individual team, Liverpool, Manchester United. So we have now gotten this for loop now has given us the ability to get that team in club data, giving us the ability to get Manchester United, for example. So that's what this team is giving us. So we now want to get a sheet or create a sheet. So we check if that sheet has been created, we populate into it. But if it has not been created, we create a new sheet. So we get our club sheet. We initialize a variable or a constant as it may for a club sheet or team sheet, anyhow you want to call it. So we use our SS, which is the current spreadsheet, not the current sheet, the current spreadsheet, because our current sheet now as it stands is sheet 1. So we have to use our current spreadsheet itself to check. So the current spreadsheet dot get spreadsheet by name. So we have to get the spreadsheet, get spreadsheet by name, get sheet by name, club team. So this gets this, it checks if there's another sheet here for Manchester United or another sheet for Liverpool. So as it stands now, we don't have any other sheet. So this is automatically going to be undefined. So is this thing now we are now going to use to check if that thing is here and create. If it's there, we don't create, we populate into it. But if it's not there, we create. So we now write a conditional saying if that club sheet is not available, if there's no Manchester United sheet, if there's no Liverpool sheet, we now create. So we do this by using SS. SS gives us some properties. So our active sheet gives us, our active spreadsheet rather, it gives us other properties inside. So these are list of the properties it gives us. So it gives us insert sheet, then insert sheet the team name, then, but if it's there, so we have checked now if there's no Manchester United sheet, which we obviously don't have currently, we insert Manchester United. But if we have, write an else for that. Club sheet dot clear. So clear all the data that is there presently. That's what this does. So if, for example, there's anything, so we clear. Then what we are seeing, we have created our team now. Then we now want to write data into it. We want to now populate data into our team sheet. So we write const club player. We want to add the player. We want to get the player rather. So because those are the things that we are going to be using to populate it. Those are we need some anchor points. We need anchor points for us to be able to understand what is happening there. We don't just walk blindly. So club player is one of those anchor points. So to get the club player, we use club data dot club. So club players dot club. So it's not dot actually. Object notation. Bracket club. So what this does now, it gives us the players, it gives us all the players inside, for example, Manchester United, Chelsea. So it gives us all the data, not just the player name, but every player inside Chelsea, inside Man U, the data of every player there. So that's what this does. So next thing, we want to get the number of rows, num rows, we'll call it num rows. So we get the number of rows we have. Club player. So we check how many players are inside each team. So then we get the number of columns. Club players bracket 0. So after we have gotten the club players, the club, a number of rows, number of columns, then we have to now get the range. So we want to get the whole range. We want to fit it properly into the Excel. We don't want it to start maybe say from C to H and 13. So we don't want it to mumble, we want to get the full range of the number of players in that club and number of players in that club and number of columns, so that everything will populate. We don't want it to be random. We want to fit it into where it's supposed to be itself, where it's supposed to be. So we will now do club sheet dot get range. The range is given by is a property in club sheet by Google Sheet. Google Sheet provides us with the property of get range. So 1 now see what it does. Get range, the row is integer 1, the column, so we want to start from row 1 column 1. So the column index of the cell to return, the column index starting with 1 returns the range with the top left cell at given coordinate. So the top left, you are going to start from that 1 itself. So if you are in this sheet, you can also read it up. Then we put the number of rows. We put the number of rows, num rows and num columns, so everything fits. So dot set, we now set the values of the club players. So the club player is an array. So the club data has Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea. Then inside that Manchester United, it now has an array. That contains all the players in Manchester United. So that is an array. So we set this value. All the club players are going to be set inside our range that we have initialized. So let us run our code and see what comes up. Right, and let's check if we have any errors. We have an error. What is the error? It's on line 40. It says assignment to constant variable. So I'm assigning to a constant variable. Club sheet is a constant. So constant, you can't assign to constant in JavaScript. You can only assign to variables like normal variables, let var. You cannot mutate constant variables. So let us, and I think that's the error that I made. Let's try it again. Execution completed. Let us see. All right, so we want to now display our menu. So we have to display this function as part of menus here, so that we can easily use it instead of going to this place to use it, instead of running it. Let us use it here and to be easily implemented. It's going to be nice and it will function properly. So we need to create a function that helps us add this our function, our separate player by club function, as part of our menu. So let's add the function for on open function on open. So var UI is equal to spreadsheet app dot get UI dot create menu player. So the menu name is player management. Dot add item. So we want to add item into the player management. Management name separate players by club. Then the function name separate players by club dot add to UI. All right, we've written this function to have a menu for player management. So we have created a menu for player management in which we have separate player by club. So in this menu, we can also have any other thing we want to. Maybe we want to separate it by goal scored or anything. Want to do any other thing to it, or want to separate them by country. That's if we have a data set for country. So this we can add a menu, a second menu to the player management menu or tab. So there's a place where I made a mistake. I made a mistake at this line. Yeah, so I detected it, and I got an error, and this is where the error is coming from. So these are different loops, and they perform different functions. So what this one does is that it pushes the data into that club data object. So it pushes that row, that player, the player's data into the club data object. But the second one, what the second one does, it creates a new sheet. It creates a new sheet for every team, right? For every club. So at this point, we can actually test our script out. So instead of running it, first of all, let me change the name. Let's separate players or player. Let's call it player management because we are management player management. So instead of running it here, we can just save it. But when running it here, we will perform the action, and of which we have already created the function where we want to perform the action. Right. All right. So we've saved the file. So we can just go to our Google Sheet and refresh the tab. Then that player's management will come up. Let's refresh from here. All right, so we have the player management tab now. Let's run our player management script and let's see what's going to show. We have an error. Script function not found. Let us go to our script and check again, because the error is coming from this tab. Dismiss is coming from here, so it is not finding something. There's something it's not finding. So let us check it. Let us check again. I think we are supposed to. I'm supposed to wrap this in in quotes. I'm supposed to wrap it in code. That is the way it's going to find it. And I didn't do that. So let us save and try it again. Let us see what's going to come out, and hopefully it comes out well. If there's any error, we're going to fix it. Well, that's what programming is all about. You're going to see errors, and yeah. Okay, 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 okay. All right, that was nice. That's beautiful. All right, we've successfully grouped our data by teams. So we have grouped the players, we have grouped the statistics by teams, and it's a very nice thing to do, and it's also very flexible to work with, and it helps you interpret your data properly. It makes it easy for you. You can there are many use cases for it, especially for people that are into businesses. You can group your customers by the region they fall into, group them by countries. You can also group your sales by the month, January, February, March. That way you can interpret data easily and properly. It's a very nice thing to do. There are a lot of use cases, and I would like people to explore it. Although it might be technical because you have to code, but these days there are a lot of things you can use. There are a lot of things you can there are a lot of tools. You can explore AI tools for you to um make use of something like this, like interpret it for your own use case, and to be very helpful. I'm also going to paste the script for this. I'm going to post the script for this in the description, so you can use it, you can tweak it to your own use case. I thank you for watching, and I really appreciate more videos to come. I think in the next video I'm going to do something very interesting, and I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Thank you very much. Bye.